back, homebodies. Thank you so much for coming back for another video. This video in this series is going to explain why behind the why. Why did I buy this? What was I thinking when I bought it? It was so cute in the store, but now that I've got it home, I absolutely hate it. This is a reoccurring feeling of all people, okay? Do not think that this just happens with the average consumer. Actually, it happens more often than you think with designers, more so than the average consumer, simply because we are not always so overwhelmed by the amount of material or the amount of resources that we have in our grasp. So how do you combat the I liked it in the store, I was committed to it in the store, and now that I've got it home, I absolutely hate it. It sucks. Take your time. This is how you can determine whether or not you're actually fully committed or you're committed to it in the store, okay? So one of the things that I like to do when I'm shopping around for my home, not necessarily a client's home, is I'll take pictures, I'll take my measurements, and then when I go to the store, I know exactly what piece I'm looking for. Sometimes it helps to create a mood board where you sit down and you say, okay, these are my inspiration photos and I don't want to go over X amount of dollars. One of the examples that I'm going to use in this video is the mood board that I did for my daughter's room. She is a fairy unicorn, okay? Like a rainbow unicorn kid. But I change her room out at least every year or two, and it's gotten pretty pricey over the past 10 years. So what I've done is, instead of going for the prices of the prices, things that I like, I try to hear her out, hear out what she's looking for, look at what I'm willing to spend to do it, and then have a happy medium. One of the happy mediums was, I love IKEA. IKEA is absolutely a happy place for me, okay? Like, I love it there. So I kind of, talked to her and said, hey, well, since you're becoming a big girl and you love unicorns and rainbows, why don't we pick out a couple of pieces from IKEA, a dresser, some storage, that way you can have storage for your toys, but you also get that grown-up, teenager look that you're looking for. And that seemed to be the happy medium for the two of us as we, went about the process of designing and picking out furniture for her room. Now, for a client, on the other hand, 90% of the time, they already have an idea of what they want. They just need me to put it together and install it. That is the whole shindig right there. And that's more so residential, not commercial. Commercial is more or less by the specification, by the numbers, and by public and welfare safety codes. And so I'm confronted with, in commercial, picking out things to the code, to the specification, and then at the bottom of the totem pole, the image or the aesthetic that a particular end user is looking to portray. Whereas in residential, the aesthetic is the first thing that I'm confronted with, and then how functional can I make it? So I want to encourage you guys, the best way that I found to pick out and say, okay, am I committed to this because it's in the store, or am I committed to it because I actually like it, is to not purchase it, but take a photo of it, bring that photo home, and study that space with this photo in it, and literally come to the conclusion and say, okay, I like this item, I'm gonna go back and purchase this item. Or I'm really not as into it as I thought I was, so instead I'll just leave it at the store for someone else to deal with that problem. Another tip that I have, which is my final tip, which is the best tip I've learned to employ, is to use painter's tape and painter's chalkboard, not chalkboard, but cardboard paper. I found this to save me the pain, the agony, and the holes in my walls because I couldn't really figure out what sizing I wanted to use for certain things, the placement of certain items. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. So one of the ways that I've learned to really hone in on a look or a particular style that I'm going for is to use painter's tape and painter's paper to mark out the configuration of certain things, and that way I wasn't ruining and purchasing and not having to return, because I don't return things. I just don't do it. I just put it in the basement or I put it in my office for a later date because I always have use for it, simply because I always have somebody calling me for an event, or you know, my sisters, they come, they shop my house, so you know, it's kind of a free-for-all. So I never throw anything away, and I definitely don't sell things. So with that being said, those are my few tips. I hope that this has been informative and helpful, and I love you, homebodies. Let me know if y'all are enjoying this series as much as I'm enjoying making it.